Hi there, welcome to AutoRetro, the podcast where we talk to people about the cars of their lives. I'm David.
And I'm Ed.
And I'm Nathan.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello.
I love how you chimed in there.
Introducing himself.
I was
already.
about
That's
to give you a bit of an
brilliant.
intro.
You can.
That's Nathan. Moving right along.
Right.
No, we need to say something about Nathan. Nathan is an individual who's sold many cars, because I know Nathan, you don't. So
I know,
it's
that's right.
important
I'm
that
looking
we
forward
do
to
now.
finding out.
to you and the
Exactly.
crowd.
We're okay now.
Yeah.
Before.
Ooh, yeah.
It's amazing what a chicken dinner will do to bond our
Winner,
guests. to the
winner.
host.
Dinner.
Nathan has sold many brands of cars over many years. Very experienced salesperson. Don't do it anymore, but you have.
Yeah.
You have the famous Instagram handle GT Nathan, which specialises in period homes and period cars of suburbia, which I love.
Yes.
As
you
do
very
many
much.
other people.
Very
And
satisfactory.
he loves everything vintage, and he's got a real penchant for the ordinary in terms of automobiles. Although
Nothing
some of them
wrong with
you've
that.
owned, no, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
We love that. But
Love it.
some you owned are not that ordinary in my eyes. But we're going to hear about them. Welcome, Nathan.
Thank you very much, Ed and David.
You're more than welcome. Now, you know a little bit about how this works. So
I do.
We want to take you right back to
I'm there.
To little
I've been
Nathan.
there for a week thinking about it.
Oh, that's
Have you
brilliant.
been?
I've been going,
What's that word? Ruminating in the memories of your childhood.
Which one's percolated to the
Okay.
top?
The one that percolated to the top. I was sitting on the countertop at the State Bank of Victoria on Glenferrie Road
In Hawthorne?
in Hawthorne.
Hawthorne, yeah, okay.
And the teller said, "What's your favourite car?" And I said, "A Lamborghini Countach." And I felt really,
Whoa.
really good.
And how
about
old
myself.
were you?
Okay.
I
sprouting
think
this?
I would have been about age 2 and a bit.
2 and a bit.
Wow.
That's-
I was.
That is
Yeah.
seriously
I
impressive.
couldn't even talk when I was 2 and a bit. Actually, I could.
I'm
underwater.
guessing you
I was
could.
quite an
Yep.
advanced talker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Okay.
I remember.
Were you too young to have the poster
too
on
young
the
for
wall
that
of the nursery?
at that stage. Yes, I had a blower Bentley with a barometer in the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
How very minimalist. And
There was
very-
nothing else.
No, it's very-
It was a cottage
There
in
was
Hawthorne.
an iron bed.
Yeah, the
a
room
blower
was as big
Bentley,
as this table.
And a barometer. Bedtime, Nathan. Yes, Father.
It's going to be dry tomorrow.
Have you
Okay,
seen the
Father.
story of Charlie Bucket?
I love it. I've got the vision of this room.
Yeah.
So you didn't set off the bank security things when you were propped up at the
No,
state bank?
that was
Probably
before the COVID
pre-security
advisors.
screens.
Yeah,
Yes.
you could
No,
actually
no,
rob
the-
banks
not
back
the
then.
COVID ones. The one, the pop, the
I know.
pop-up
Oh,
one.
where the teller
Yeah.
would just touch under the counter.
That's
and
Yeah, and
the
zoom,
screen.
they come up.
Yes.
No, they didn't have them.
No.
No,
Okay.
they didn't even lock the doors.
Back when banks were trusted, when they had
Yes.
managers.
Yes, you
Yeah.
didn't rob a bank unless you're a baddie.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
you were there. You said Countach.
Countach. That was and the Lamborghini. I got the post. I did get the poster. I got the calendar.
Goes with that saying.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Good.
But that was the car that drew me in.
I just find it gobsmacking that you knew what a Lamborghini Countach was at that age.
At that age, I think I followed in my father's footsteps,
Okay.
and that was my way that I could get to talk to him in his language.
Right.
It was,
He's a bit of a car.
he's a
Serious carry.
yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
good. That's
So-
good. You come from good stock there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent.
And where did we roll on from here? Was there a collection of models?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Which
So-
I think you still have, mate.
I do.
Oh,
I've got,
brilliant.
I've,
Okay.
I've got the 1950s dinky toys and all of
So
those.
some of Dad's.
Yeah,
Yep.
the tin toys.
Oof. Okay. We'll talk later.
yeah.
We'll compare.
And
compare
then-
tin toys.
Tomica.
Oh,
They
love
were the
Tomica.
best.
Love Tomica.
Because they
Except
had
the
real
wheels.
suspension.
They did,
Yes.
but the wheels go
They
mank
do if you
if you play
improperly.
too much.
If you're rough
Yeah.
with them, Edward.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I
mine,
haven't-
mine were driven. They were very well driven.
One that I really love, and we didn't even get it here, was an S12 Sylvia in silver, and it was the elongated body with the long doors that opened.
Yeah, they
Of
opened
course,
on
yeah.
Tomica. Yep.
And the 260Z
Yep.
had the pop-up head.
Oh,
no,
it did.
didn't.
It had a little
It-
pop-up light.
Yeah,
I think it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
I think it was white and red.
Mine was yellow.
Rings a bell.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had
Okay.
a yellow one of those and a yellow Porsche 911.
Cool.
And that was
That's
that's yeah.
bye, Charlie. That's the
Yeah.
end of the podcast there.
Yeah.
No. We've still got a bit to go.
Oh, we've got a
yet.
lot to go.
We've got a bit to go now. So after the so you've got your collection, your favourites, the ones you want to play with. How old do you remember the first sort of car-related memory of family cars or
traveling in?
Absolutely. So I have a Mark 1 Cortina, and I have it because my dad had a Mark 1 Cortina, and I came home from the hospital in 1978 in a Mark 1 GT Cortina.
So it was a 2-door your dad had?
4-door.
4-door.
Four-door
Yeah.
GT.
His was, it was finished by Harry Firth, who did the GT 500.
Mm-hmm.
He had a workshop in Auburn, or just in Auburn Village.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Queen's
Parade. Yep.
And he'd finished a car for the Stillwells that was a demonstrator. Anyhow, it ended up with Dad.
Oh,
wow.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
he
that's
sort
a
of
good
prepared
one
it.
to buy.
Stillwells back in the Cotham Road days did do a number of customised
they
cars.
did. Yeah.
I've
The BSS.
BSS personally customised.
Yeah.
I think it had on the
so
booklet.
it would have been very similar to those cars
wow.
before the plastic badge that came on the
Yes,
XC Falcons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot. This is
Absolutely
fantastic.
there. It takes me right back.
Yeah.
So that Cortina that your dad had was quite warmed compared to a standard Cortina.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was.
Was it brake
The GT
suspension?
Yeah,
Weber's.
Yeah,
blah, blah.
it was. So downdraft 2832 Weber. It had lowered suspension. It was cammed. It was really.
It made a Cortina sort of what it should have been.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, they did really well with them. So
They
Harry
did.
Firth won Bathurst.
Yeah.
In a Mark 1 G.
1963.
Yep, with George Reynolds. Yeah.
And they were racing same time as the Mustangs and the Minis, and there were always a smattering Cortinas in that field.
Cortina
Or
did
was that a bit
particularly
early?
well
That's
early.
right. Yep.
Okay.
So I think the first was a Vauxhall first, and then 63, 62, 63.
Yeah.
I think there was 5 years of rain, and then a Cooper S got it.
In 66, wasn't it?
Yeah.
60 we
Yeah.
talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, 67 was the first of the GT Falcons. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
rest is history.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Bye-bye,
after
everyone
that.
else. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So,
Yeah. So
then,
that was
so
19
he had that. So you travelled in that
78,
first car.
I've got
Technically,
it.
you didn't remember that.
No.
But
Well,
Did he have the car
He
for-
still has the car.
Oh, he still has that.
brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that car means so much
Yeah.
to me
Yeah.
in the sense that
Is that-
it's been around my
Entire life.
entire life.
Is that
Exactly,
still on
that's
the road, usable?
It's usable. It's I think it needs a little bit to get it on the road today or
Okay,
tonight. But
yep.
but yeah.
Okay. Great
That's
to have
cool.
it still in the
And
family.
what colours is that car?
So it's painted. It was from the factory zircon green, which was a GT Falcon colour
Yep.
that came out in 1967,
Yep.
Mhm.
and it was another still special
Yes.
thing.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And does it have that different coloured flash down the
It
side?
doesn't. That's the Lotus that you think
Oh,
of.
that's one.
Yes.
But it does have a stainless trim that
Yes.
goes down.
down.
All the
The
Down
two
the
doors
side.
to me were a prettier car than the 4-door.
I always thought so too, and that's
Better proportioned.
that's how I ended up with a
With a
with a
two-door.
two-door. That was my prescription.
Alright.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that.
We'll get to
We'll
that.
get to that. What's the first car you ever drove?
1971 HG Kingswood station wagon. It was my
71
grandpa's.
Yep. Okay.
Three on the tree.
Mission brown,
Yeah.
white roof.
Oh yeah.
I think the
6
majority
seats.
of them were.
Yeah.
So bench seats in the
remember
front.
them
Yeah,
well.
186.
Yep.
Manual.
Yep.
Column.
Yep.
Yeah. So first down here, second up there, third
Well,
down
see,
there.
I learnt that. I was going first.
Which no.
No.
First down.
No.
First
yeah,
down. And if you watch the Blues Brothers, that's what he does.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Nathan said to
There
me
was no
before this podcast, he said, I don't know if I'm going to have enough to fill the time in. And I'm like, I think you'll be all right. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
So that was age 11.
Okay.
And where
okay.
was that? Was that
So we-
like on a farm or something?
Yeah, my grandpa's old place.
Fantastic.
And we moved up there, and he had a driveway that went up a steep slope. So I made the
cool.
clutch smell like biscuits.
Mommy,
That biscuity
smell.
smell.
and
Mm.
my parents when they were out, because I would do it
Oh, yeah.
unbeknownst to them.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
okay.
We've all done that.
So Grandpa wasn't a part of this.
No.
Oh,
This is
okay,
Grandpa's
okay.
car. I kept it particularly clean.
Yes,
Like,
okay,
I
okay.
washed it, vacuumed it, treated it just like it was my own.
As if you'd never taken it out.
Yeah.
And what happened to that car? Where did that end up?
My dad gifted it to a cousin of his. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not still around?
No, I don't think so. KSG, I think the registration plate was on it.
Yeah, early 70s.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
first one you
Okay.
drove. And then fast forward, were there any family cars that stand out before you got your own?
Well, Mum had little Fords. So
Like
Okay.
Escorts?
Escorts.
no, she had a Ford Meteor Gear,
Oh, okay.
84.
Yep, nice.
That fell off the hoist at Stillwell's.
Oh, okay.
And
What did they do?
They repainted half the car, so it made
Was it one of those
half
two-tone
of the
Meteors?
cars.
Ah.
No, it was that goldy. It was an XC
Champagne-y
Falcon
goldy.
colour.
Sovereign?
I
Oh,
think it could have been.
I
Yeah.
think there are a lot of them in that colour.
So
Yeah.
a bit of it got painted because it was...
They
came
painted
off.
the front half, and
Ah.
it just became that car from the. I tried it out on the old FB Holden.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Meteor.
a glorious front and a mediocre back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. A
unfortunate.
mediocre meteor,
Meteor.
as the case.
But it was such a good car.
At least it was the gear.
Yeah.
So they had the
It was-
alloys,
oh,
the
and
gear
the
badges,
velour.
And the
velour
stripy
upholstery.
seat, stripy
Yes, it
velour.
did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the bucket.
The 80s were good.
Bucket.
That's
Bucket
right, in
for
the
your
console.
cassettes.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
like a
with the gear
storage.
badge on
Yes.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Remember
Fuck
that?
it. They
Yeah.
literally just got gear badges that went...
Yeah.
You know, it was on
The
everything.
trim was very European.
The whole car was very European, Nathan.
So we went from that. Mum went from that to a Ford Laser, the next model, in a sedan
Yes.
in Jarrah, 1988.
Jarrah. What an 88
Oh
car.
yeah,
Jarrah.
yeah. Proudly made in Australia.
Proudly.
Yeah.
Proudly.
Did that have the sticker Ford Australia moving
Moving
with
with
you?
you.
I
Yes.
think the
that?
EA Falcon that we had did.
Because
So-
I remember that on XF's, that sticker.
Yeah,
Australia moving
yeah.
with
We had an XF CWC220. I wonder where it
you.
is.
Where's that car
Yeah.
now?
Bright red.
Rego check. Rego.
Retro check. My friend's dad had a XF wagon, Fairmont wagon in Jarrah,
Ooh,
which was
Well,
quite
you were
rare
talking
in a
about that.
wagon.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
you brought up Jarrah.
Jarrah.
Yes.
Jarrah was sort of the burgundy
Metallic
Yes,
burgundy,
yep,
yeah.
yep, I
Yeah,
remember
so-
it well.
Very regal colour.
And it had a rear wiper on a sedan.
Yes.
Oh, the
that's right.
Meteor did?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it was
Oh,
a
the
laser.
laser.
Yeah. But it looked like the Meteor, but it in some
323s were the
Yeah.
same thing,
It was the
slightly
same
tweaked, and
generic.
they had the rear wiper on the
Yeah.
sedan too.
Yeah.
One
yeah.
of our previous guests told to us about redoing the bodywork for the front and rear of those.
That's right. Yes,
That's
John.
right.
John,
Mm.
correct. So meteors
So
and
they were
lasers.
Mum's cars.
Yep.
Dad had the
And-
Cortina, of course.
Yeah.
Was
When-
there another daily that Dad had?
Yeah. Oh, well, he went through a few. He was a rep. So,
Oh, right.
So we got them all.
Every 3 years.
I loved
2 or 3 years. Yeah.
The VK Commodore. We got that. That was a really special car. I remember it coming home, and the light, the ambient light in the car, and the smell of a brand new
Ooh,
Australian.
Australian made Commodore.
Oh my god!
There's nothing
it was
like
so
it.
good.
If only you could bottle it.
I'd have it. Yeah.
The electronic fuel injection badge along
It was.
on the
I think
car?
this one would have been a carbureted one.
Okay.
He would.
Sales rep,
But he
probably.
did step up as a rep.
Okay.
Dad wasn't the number one in
No,
sales.
no,
He was
no.
like number 4 in sales.
that's
so
right,
he got
that's
the
right.
car.
It wasn't central locking.
Okay.
It wasn't. We had a VH Vacationer before that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I like a
I-
vacation.
in bronze as well.
Okay. I'm seeing
that,
a theme.
that was like the Subaru Outback SUV of its day, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
Just a commo wagon,
Yep.
slap vacationer on
Yeah.
it.
Some
Well,
stripes.
end of
go.
run.
Off you go.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't need
Sound.
raised suspension.
Yeah.
You don't need an SUV.
Yeah.
You just get a vacationer.
Oh, we've got these Series 2s waiting at the factory.
What are we going to do?
Vacation.
Send everyone on holiday. That's what we'll do. Point your VK friggin' snout north. Up to Queensland.
Well, vacation went through for quite a few years. It
Yeah, they
started
ran it at the
about
end of.
at J, I think, those first vacations.
I think they ran
And
it
then
right.
And
they
it went
right
all the way.
through.
VR, VS.
Yep.
Yep.
Were there any VT vacations? Maybe not
No,
VT.
I don't think
no.
VTs.
But
no.
definitely VR, VS. I
Yeah.
think there were.
Yeah.
Then at the other end of the level was the Commodore Metro.
What's that?
That was based on a Commodore L 4-cylinder.
The Starfire
Auto-
Oh,
Yeah.
right at the late 70s.
yeah,
Yeah.
70,
Like really early on.
79, 80, and it
Yeah.
came with a Melways. That's true.
I
Our cars came with Melways.
Yeah.
I've
Second-hand
just
ones.
bought second-hand ones
Yeah.
that got Melways in it.
Yeah.
That Fiesta I just bought has got a Melway in it.
There
But
you go.
I had no idea that it was ever an official thing.
Oh, yeah, the Commodore, it was a limited edition.
You know, back in
But
the-
it was
it's like
the
getting-
city car. You
Yeah.
know, it was a 4-cylinder Commodore. It wasn't going
That's
to be a
right.
highway car, was it?
It's like it. Don't you dare take it out of the state. It's like getting free navigation now, or
That's
maybe
right.
not now because everyone's on their phone. But
Yeah, yeah.
Bluetooth. But maybe like 10 years ago, a nav upgrade.
That's right.
Free nav, free
Free
Melways.
Melways.
Wow. So he had a string of, and it was Holden's mainly.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, when
Yep.
it was a 4-cylinder TD Cortina first, then a VH, then a VK, then an XF,
Ooh,
then an
Okay,
EA
switched.
in the first
First
like,
EA,
the-
3-speed
Wow.
auto.
Yes, and we had it for Christmas. It was in that minty green,
Lucky you.
Yep.
and it didn't start.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
It had some fuel lock sort of issue.
Starvation.
So it was a very early.
Very,
Okay,
yeah.
You were asking me about that green the other day. So what was the green you
Yeah.
mentioned, Ed, on your Ford?
It was on the
Dad's
ZL.
Ford? ZL
Same
Fairlane.
colour.
We had, I said crystal mint.
Yeah, crystal
That's the
mint.
colour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
EA,
So-
not great. The first of
No,
them.
and we then went to VNs, and he
Also
had a
not
string
great.
of
Also
VNs.
not great.
Oh, I love them.
Really?
I love them. I love them to look at. Styling wise, one of our neighbours worked at Holden Engine Plant and brought in the Buick V6,
6. Yep.
and he gave me the brochure for the Buick Regal, I guess, at that stage.
Yeah.
Which was what the VN kind of looked like.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'd look at that brochure, and the VN was same.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell them
Same,
apart.
same.
Just
It's a
like
Buick.
your car and a Viper.
Precisely. Precisely.
So,
So-
string of VNs. Did he get
Yeah.
into VP, VR, VS? Did he go that
VR.
far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
VR.
And then I was flying.
You're out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
what was your first car?
My 1965 Mark I Cortina,
And where
Oh,
did you,
okay.
which he still has,
which I still
which is
have.
a
So
lovely
was this a trading post or Saturday?
So,
Yeah, where did-
Dad was in the Mark I Cortina, or Cortina Mark I Owners Club,
Okay.
and I took a phone call for the club because he was the secretary.
Right.
And this.
Hello, Nathan speaking.
Yep.
Good afternoon.
I got to sell me Cortina.
Oh yeah.
You've come
How many doors has it got?
The less, the better.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's one of those cheap ones with just 2 doors.
Just two doors.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Oh,
I'm
We
listening.
we'll come out and see it.
Yeah.
So off you trotted to have a
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, out to
Where
Stud
was it?
Park Panels in
Is that where it was?
in
Stud
Rowville.
Park Panels?
Okay.
Yep, and it was in it's the Ford Silver Blue that
It's a
turned-
beautiful blue.
It's
Lovely
a gorgeous colour, but didn't keep particularly well. If it was not garaged, mine didn't. So it was.
Right.
Mind you, it only had 65,000 original miles
Miles,
on it.
yep, okay.
Rubber floor mats.
So it was at the panel shop for
It
what
was.
reason?
He was going to turn it into a
Major
race car.
structural work.
Okay. Okay.
It was, and he decided that it was too good for that.
Oh, okay.
So he gave me a call,
Yep.
and yeah,
What did it cost back then? If I
$1,500.
Not
Wow.
bad.
Mm.
Thank you very much.
And
And so was
I've
did
spent
Dad
that a
take
few
much
times over.
convincing?
no, Dad was
He-
on the
he
train.
was on- yeah, beautiful.
So I knew that I wanted a small British Ford.
Yep.
We'd gone and seen a Mark II Escort that had the Escort insignia on the front of it,
Nice.
but it was automatic.
Oh, disappointing.
I was
Not
disappointed.
for you.
Yes,
Not
yeah.
for you.
I was
That was part of the rally pack, I think. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
You're a manual guy.
yeah. So I was
Okay.
whelmed.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
would have owned it
Yes.
if
yes.
I'd had to. Yeah.
So Cortina 1500. It was as it is now cosmetically, or you've
No,
done
so
stuff.
him being a panel beater, he painted it for me.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Right.
Included
Included in the 1500.
No.
No.
Okay.
That was an additional
Yeah,
$1,500. But tell me where you can get a paint job
Not
that
now.
nowhere.
stands up for 25 years,
It
like mine
still
has.
looks really
Gee,
good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So
And it has been garaged most.
yeah,
time.
all of its life, it's been undercover.
Yeah.
And it's
fantastic.
still, as far as I'm aware, on original plates.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is
Now we've had this discussion a bit, haven't we? Because you have one car.
I have
on-
one
on
car.
original plates.
On
for
one of my old cars.
one of your
original
cars
plates.
for very good reason.
And I can't stand to put
I
on club plates.
don't want to do it either.
No.
I thought about putting them onto a new car that we have in the family, just so they can be out there. But they
it's
just
not the
really fit.
same.
They fit on that car.
Yeah,
they
it's
look
not the
so
same.
good.
I keep paying $800 and whatever every year for
Yeah.
the privilege of keeping those
Yes,
plates.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
silly.
quite an ask, quite a premium to pay.
Well, it's rare.
but
You don't see too many on original plates
absolutely
anymore.
not.
Yeah, and
Absolutely not.
mine's 555 at the
Yes.
at
It's
the
a
end.
cool,
That's-
and
yeah,
it's
that's very
symmetrical
cool.
Yeah.
letters too.
Yeah.
It's good. It's like same letter, something else,
Yeah.
same
Same
letter.
letter.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's a cool plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So-
it looks great on the car.
So that's my first car.
So you got that in, what year was that?
1997.
Okay, so that's
Bought that car.
25, coming up to
Yeah.
25 years.
And
That
I
is
remember a
25 years.
time when I worked with
Quarter of a
you.
century.
Yeah.
Do you feel old?
No,
Best case scenario.
I remember when I worked with you at BMW. That's how I know Nathan from BMW selling new cars. And there was a time when you said, "Oh, I'm thinking, Adam, I really want a 911. I might sell the Cortina." I was like, "No, that cannot happen." So I'm so glad that.
If I
hasn't
bought a 911 though,
nah, even then, you can't replace that.
I know.
You replace
No.
it
Yeah, no, that
as well
car's-
as not
it's-
instead.
It is part of me.
Yes,
That car.
that's right.
Yeah.
And I remember you brought it into work a few times, and I'd seen it, and it's a bit lower in the front than standard, I think.
It's lower all round than
Yeah.
it should be.
And it's got a Weber on it, I think.
Yeah, it's got a side draft.
It just
It's-
sounds
yeah,
great.
it sounds really good.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
looks so good. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
So now, moving on from Cortina life, which has
Mm.
been staple, there's been a string of other interesting cars.
They have.
Okay.
They have.
What came next?
So next came. I know there was the E21.
A
Yeah,
little
it was.
BMW.
It was.
Okay.
It was the E21 323i, 1983. It was a factory demonstrator, and it had, started its life at Mulgrave,
Mm-hmm.
and we called him Fritz. I bought him for $500.
Wow.
So cheap.
Okay.
Was that was a manual too?
A manual with
Did it have a roof?
200,000
a windy
Ks.
roof?
It didn't have a roof. It was a manual, and I changed the trim from that orange and brown
Yeah.
to black all through.
How
Okay.
racy.
Mm.
And
Probably
what?
wouldn't bother anymore.
No, you just keep it as a brown. What colour was
The
the
things you
exterior?
do
It was
Yes.
Alpine white.
Alpine
So
face?
Alpine white and a black interior.
Yeah,
looked
that's
quite
a
attractive.
bit hotter than a
Yeah.
white with a brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Fritz remained for a little
Yes,
time.
radial spoke wheels. I put the BMW radial spoke wheels on.
Nice.
Nice.
They kind of look like the Alpina wheels, but not.
If you
Yeah,
squint a
yeah,
bit.
yeah. They've got lines.
I like the idea of Fritz. And those sixes sounded so good.
Oh, they
they
were
were
you,
great.
just
you just
magic.
start them and they've got that
Yeah. Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bark to them.
Yeah, and the starter motor had a different noise.
distinctive,
too.
yeah.
Jag starter motor, BM starter
Jag.
Jag.
One
So
of
you're a
Nathan's
Jag
favourite
man.
films, The Big Steal, which we've spoken about before with some other guests, but Nathan and I bonded very much over that film.
Yeah.
'cause I was like,
Now I understand.
Yes.
It all comes clear now.
watched it a lot.
Gordon Farkas.
Yeah.
So you're a Jag man. So am I.
You're a bloody dreamer.
We've got to do a whole episode dedicated to that movie, I think, at some point.
I think we should.
Yeah.
We'll have a panel. We'll have like a director's
I
cut.
know. I know.
You can go to the Shays.
We can move to the lounge area that the guests don't see at the other end of the room.
Yeah.
Now,
So-
what came after Fritz?
I
So how long was Fritz a part of the family?
at least 4 or 5 years.
Oh, okay.
I keep.
Yeah,
I,
that's not
I don't
flipping,
like to
that's-
part
no,
company with my
okay.
cars.
Okay.
But I got a 850 1963 sliding window rubber
Mini.
suspension.
Lovely.
Very,
okay.
and that was a very
Push that
original
button on
car.
the floor.
Yeah,
It
push
was.
button
Yeah.
start.
That was
yeah.
Nigel.
Okay,
Nigel.
We called him Nigel after Nigel Mansell. My
Okay.
dad always referred to Nigel Mansell as the whinging pong.
So,
Hello, Mr. Mansell, if you're out there
a
listening.
very apt name. Very apt name. Now, I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember you talking about when you got Nigel, you were living in a house and you drove him around the back, like onto
Yep.
the veranda.
He used to live on the veranda.
On the veranda. Yeah.
Yeah, I had
That's so cool.
Yeah,
That's the beauty of those cars,
Yeah.
though, that size car.
Such a good.
So was it a car you went looking for? You wanted
No,
a Mini?
rocked
or-
up at the dealership I was
Okay,
working at.
okay.
One of the other guys was going to trade it in,
Yep.
and the deal wasn't there. And I said, "Well, what do you want for it?" And it ended up being a couple of $100 more. And I said, "I'll
Wow.
buy it off you."
Done.
Wow.
Yeah. No,
Deal done.
And so,
Nigel
what year-
rehomed.
What year was someone trading a Mini 850
I know. Well, it was
at a car
out of
dealer?
yeah.
'Cause that's an
you
old
wouldn't
car.
you wouldn't have
It is.
you wouldn't have seen it. That was 2004.
Wow.
That's
yeah.
a
an odd
really
car.
old,
Yeah.
an odd car to
Yeah.
To
trade in.
Yeah.
Not a BMW.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
this
it wasn't a BMW.
No,
What
no,
was
No,
they-
no,
what were
no.
they
This was
buying?
at Suzuki.
Okay.
But I know the reason why.
Ah.
They were having a child. Safety.
There you go.
Safety.
Okay.
So
They
they're
got-
buying a Suzuki.
Yeah.
No, there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
better than a Mini.
Yeah.
For
Better than a
safety,
Mini.
yeah.
And probably four doors?
God, no. Oh, whatever they bought. I wasn't looking at their car.
No. No, but I mean,
Nigel was a low mileage original car.
Yeah, it was another really low mileage. It was a time machine.
Lovely.
Such a
Yeah.
beautiful car.
And what colour?
Nuremberg cream.
Ooh.
So an off white.
Yeah,
And that was
lovely.
H Rego?
That HTU
There you go.
893.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really
Cool. And
Yeah.
you had that for some years.
I had that for a few years,
Hmm.
and then we started renovating the house, and
There was no veranda.
there wasn't going to be.
You lost your car parking
yeah,
space.
yeah, and there was need for bulk dollars.
Funds. Yeah.
And Nigel had gone up in value a bit, I
Yeah,
dare say.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
The BM had passed, and the 944 had come at that stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Tell us about the 944.
yeah, so that was traded at Hamilton,
Yeah.
or Porsche Centre Melbourne at
Which
the
was
time.
Hamilton's
Yeah.
back in the day.
Previously.
Yep.
Yep. And yeah, it came up, and being in the trade, I got a call on it, and I jumped on it.
That's a bit of me.
Yep. Bought it sight unseen, like I buy all my cars. Just ask anyone.
Yep. I'll have it. Done.
We'll
And that-
figure it out
I
after.
drove that car and it was beautifully balanced. We were telling the
was.
story at dinner. I borrowed it one night because when Nathan and I worked together, something came up. Oh, I haven't driven the 944 in ages. And I'm like, I'll drive it. I'm going over to a friend's tonight, like over the Westgate. So I followed Nathan home, picked up the 944, and I was delighted. I'll drive anything cool. Took it for a good run, charged the battery, and then I got pulled over on the way back because the cops were looking for some hoon who had neon lights under the car.
Not a hoon car.
They were like, "Is this your car?" And I was like, "No." Does this have neon lights? No. So it was all right. Got off, but beautifully balanced. I remember it
Was.
being very grounded, balanced.
That
and
was
tall.
really
You
one of
sat in
the
the right
high
spot
points.
Yeah.
in the car.
Yep.
Yeah.
High console.
Yeah.
Yep.
You had
You really felt like you were
Yeah.
in the cockpit of that.
Yeah.
944.
Yeah.
yeah.
They
Whereas
were well known for that. The balance of them was pretty
Yeah.
extraordinary.
yeah.
And
I
it was a
think-
very tidy car. Like I remember you telling me you had the dashboard done because they're very prone to cracking in 944s.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like
Yeah, all
early
of them.
sub 900s.
Yeah.
They all do it, and that was done, and that was really the
I
only
got
thing.
the gear, the gator on the gear,
Oh yeah,
and the
leather
steering
bit.
wheel. Those three things made
And then it was
yeah.
a
Yeah,
really
it was
clean
lovely.
car.
It had the Porsche embossed trim, the cloth
Yeah.
centers.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember those.
Yeah, and no roof delete.
Roof to
Don't want the roof.
No, if you ever want to have it on a racetrack,
No roof.
you won't want a sunroof.
Oh no,
No.
no.
And those
So was
roofs,
that destined for the racetrack? That car?
I had dreams
Dreams
about
and
that
plans.
maybe happening.
Okay.
The Porsche
Okay.
944 challenge. In fact, I put
Ooh.
the black band on the
on the windscreen?
without the
Okay.
Porsche part.
In readiness. In readiness.
Yeah.
readiness.
yeah.
The sunroofs on those, when you did get them, go up and out, don't
and
they?
out,
Yeah.
and then they store in the boot.
Oh, they go into
Yes,
boots.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're quite
Makes them a lovely car. Yeah,
like a
But,
Targa.
Yeah,
So how long did that remain in the collection?
that was part of the family for a long time.
Okay.
I think I must have had that another five or so
Okay.
years.
Okay.
Maybe even longer. And then, yeah, we got to the end of a renovation, and
It's a long renovation.
and the
Oh.
and the funds were low,
Right.
and the Porsche had to go.
Bye bye 944.
So yeah, there was no Mini, no 944.
Okay.
Still Cortina.
Still Cortina, luckily.
Yeah, that
And
that
company
remained.
cars. You're always
Yeah.
driving company cars.
And I was driving lots of different things, and
Yes.
Yeah.
Daily.
Yeah.
But then there was a new classic that came at some point.
yeah. So,
And I remember when you bought that.
are we talking about the bus?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
we're talking about the bus. So when I decided that selling cars was no longer going to be me, I thought,
We've all done that.
yeah, I'm going to go and find something that's really analog and more like me, more like the person that loved cars to
Yep.
start with. So I, sight unseen,
Adelaide, I
bought
seem
it
to
from
remember.
Adelaide.
Went over with
Fiona-
your sister, I think.
My wife flew over. She had a conference on. I said, while you're there, can you just jump in a car and go around the block with this guy?
Sure.
Strange man.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. She complied, and
okay.
And then I got it sent off to a local mechanic who did nothing to it, but cost me a lot. And yeah, he
So
said,
this is
he
a-
said all
we
clear.
have-
It-
have
Oh, you've
actually
got to
seen
have
oh,
what
I
it
beg your
is.
pardon.
This is
1977.
77.
Is it 70? Yeah, 77. Sure.
Bay window.
Bay window.
Bay window microbus.
Microbus,
Microbus.
8-seater.
Okay.
It is.
So a locally built
no,
car.
it's a German built.
car. Okay,
Yeah.
there you
It
go.
has a Webasto sunroof,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I didn't
Ooh.
love,
Okay.
but I
okay.
love.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, I
Now.
use it.
Is it
all
over
the time.
over the front of the
Yes.
car? Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a bit daggy,
No.
but,
No, I
but
think
I'm
it's-
okay
no.
with it.
I
Hands
like
up
that.
anyone who thinks that daggy. No
Yeah.
one's
No,
putting their hands
no.
up. No,
Cool.
no, that's
And
not-
it's a cool colour, that car. It's
Yeah, it is.
white
So
on
it's pastel
orange.
white with
Top, yeah.
merino yellow.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
real
Yeah, it's
rich
striking.
yellow.
And it
Yeah.
and,
And
chrome
2 litre?
wheels. It's the 2-litre Type 4 motor.
Yep.
And it's got the downdraft Weavers.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so
which has
twin
since been
40s.
fully rebuilt.
Yeah,
that motor.
it gets along pretty well.
Mhm.
It'll make 120 without too much worry.
Wow.
Yeah,
Such a cool bus. Now
It-
you've had that quite a while now.
I've had that quite a while now.
6-7
yeah,
years?
6-7 years.
Yep.
Yeah,
Very cool.
That'd be
Yeah.
a keeper, hopefully.
Oh,
too.
and gone up in value. There's no
yeah,
question.
Yes,
yeah,
gone crazy.
absolutely. It's crazy, but
I remember,
Yeah.
be probably 15 years ago now. I did a job for a guy on a microbus that he was putting in a container to take to Europe to do all the summer swap meets, full of spare parts, and then end up in Wolfsburg for the 50th anniversary of the
Oh,
rugby.
what a trip.
that's
yeah,
something.
that was a brilliant sounding
Imagine if
trip.
you could make your living just doing that.
Well, his plan was to sell it in
Oh,
Germany,
okay.
and
Well,
and-
Australian buses in the world do
That's right.
really, really well
Yep.
because they're dry. They
Yep.
don't have nearly as much rust
Yeah.
from the salted roads
Yeah.
and things. Yeah, they do.
Maybe
exceptionally well.
there could be a career, just take cars out. Although
Wouldn't
I don't
it?
like them leaving Australia. I'd feel bad
sort of-
taking
I know
things
what you
out.
mean.
you know.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
They belong here. Too many have gone back to Japan or
Mm.
Africa or wherever they take Peugeot 504s. And
Well, that's where the value is,
Yeah. It's
or
a
it
bit
used
sad.
to be.
Used to be. I don't know about now.
Now we've got COVID tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
everything.
a friend of mine that works at Jaguar Land Rover Classic Centre over there, family friend, he is involved in all of the restoration of Land Rover Series 1s, and often the donor cars come from here.
Yeah.
And I said, how far, when I was over there, I got a private sort of sneak around, and I said, how bad do they have to be, or good do they have to be for you to consider them? He said, if it's got the original firewall and, plates on it and stuff, that's kind
That's
of
enough.
our starting point.
Okay.
But yeah, rather than trying to find cars in Europe, he sources, because he's an Aussie guy.
Yeah,
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 And
yeah.
he knows all the people here, and he just sources them here.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I've read so many classic UK magazines, and that's literally what they start with, a bulkhead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
you think
and then build everything else around
it's
it.
a patent
Doesn't
part. You just get a patent part like a wheeler dealer.
Or they do what they're doing with
In a
Mark
single
II
garage.
Escorts.
Yeah, in a single dank garage in the middle of
Have
winter.
you seen the Mark 1 and Mark 2 reproduction escorts?
Oh,
They're-
What do they do
they're
with
like
the shells?
absolutely brand new out of the box. You can
Shells.
buy a
Wow.
Mark 1, yeah,
Wow.
to take it rally racing or into
Wow.
into historics.
It's kind of
I love
tempting if the
historic
car was
racing.
too bad, but then there's that whole argument of, okay, if I rebodied a car, which is questionable legally,
absolutely. Yeah.
but is it then the same car? You
No.
know, if you took a new body
I
and bolted
feel
everything
that-
else onto it,
That's
Yeah.
a big
is it that
grandfather's
car?
axe, I think.
I know,
Yeah.
it is a bit,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of Lotus Cortinas like that.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they only made, 1,587.
now
There's
there's-
4,780 of
It's
them
like
left. Yeah.
GTHO Falcons.
Yeah, there's a lot of them getting around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you read the book, you know exactly where to put all the bits.
Yeah.
Now, there's been a few other... I don't think there's been any classics since the bus, have there?
No, not really.
Oh, hang
I
on.
mean, we've got Jeffrey.
Let's talk about
Let's
Jeffrey.
talk about Jeffrey.
All right. So
He's
Jeffrey,
the most recent.
yeah, Jeffrey came along last year, and
I love it. It's like a baby. It's like another kid. Jeffrey was unexpected.
we weren't looking for each other.
We weren't trying.
but we found each
we
other.
weren't trying. But we're glad we have
Yeah,
him now.
yeah. He's a little.
Couldn't be without him.
Yeah. I know.
He's such a cheeky little fellow.
He is.
Poor
He's the
Jeffrey.
newest car I've owned in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I think it is the newest car.
And now it's 1991.
91.
And what is Jeffrey?
An ED3
Yep.
Honda Civic.
1991.
91.
Update. 91 update.
Yes. In silver.
Because also in 91 the EG was released.
That's
Very
right.
So it was right
It
on
was.
the tail
It was
end.
right on the cusp.
Yeah.
The Caspian Honda.
Lucky Jeffrey got born at all. And Jeffrey is a sedan.
Yeah. Not the most attractive body shape for all of the
Hatch was a bit
Honda
hotter,
fanboys,
but still good.
Yeah.
Right.
But
the
I
s-
think
the sedan,
there's a bit of
the
a
sedans
following
have an
for them
elegance
now.
to
Yeah,
them.
I like the sedan.
Yeah.
And a very engaging car. We're talking at dinner about it.
Yeah.
They're low, they're sleek, they've got great road holding, very glassy. You really feel like you're in something quite racy, even though
And
they're sort of not.
brilliant manual gearboxes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
silky.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like butter.
Jeffrey's low
Yeah.
mileage too.
Low.
And dual carb.
Dual carb.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think they're Hitachi carburetors.
You might be right. Stromberg,
Might be.
Hitachi.
Don't-
I can't remember.
Cayenne were earlier than.
Oh, were
than-
they?
Yeah, so
Okay.
you may be right. I'd have
So
to check.
Jeffrey's your only Japanese.
Yes. My youngest and
And-
only Japanese. We've had a string of Hondas.
Because you had your wife had
Yeah.
some CRVs, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had
Which are
them
great
in the
cars.
house. We had an AD Honda Accord.
What,
And I
what
put
year's
Rover
AD?
Vitesse 416i wheels on it. 85.
Oh, an Accord 85. Okay, is that
Oh,
pop-up
okay.
light?
It was
Pop-up?
Mate, just
looked
before
just like an
pop-up
Integra.
headlights.
Couldn't tell the difference.
No, man.
You wish.
Yeah, right. You can't fool David. He's Mr. Honda.
Yeah. Yeah. Lift back.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
the liftback one, I know the one.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was lovely.
Beautifully built.
It was such a good. I think that car kind of pitched it to me how good Hondas are.
Yeah.
Was that
Particularly in
manual or
that
automatic?
era.
Manual?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
era was just
Yeah.
a real... We keep referring to it. This is the golden era of Honda. There was some
Yeah.
just great... Money was plentiful. They really put some effort into those
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah.
And they were premium. They were a premium.
they really
product
were.
Over.
Well, compared to a Corolla, like of the time, I don't know if you remember how much those Civic sedans were new. What would they be? 27, 6, 5?
It would have been the cost of a
Low
Were they the
2s.
cost of a Falcon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comparable. Yeah.
And that puts it in
Double.
perspective. Like they
Exactly.
were, yeah, a Falcon 24 grand or a Civic 24 grand or something. It's like, oh, it's a small car.
Well, I remember when the current Civic came out, which is
45 or something.
$47,200. I actually went back and looked when the EG came out, the SI, which was the top level in late '91. That was the equivalent of $57,000 in today's
In
money.
today's money.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it does.
They
sort of
were
put
they
it
were
in
premium
perspective.
back then, you know,
Yeah.
and people bought them. You know,
Yeah.
they bought them in.
And it was
droves.
quite acceptable to drive a Honda, like you know, as
Absolutely.
a second car.
Well, the Prelude when it came out with its
Yeah.
four-wheel steer in the late 80s.
But
They
even
were-
people who bought Mercs and Beamers
Yes.
and Audis and
Yeah.
Range Rovers, if the second car was a Honda, it was
Yeah,
quite
that's right. Yeah.
quite
Acceptable.
acceptable.
That's
Whereas
right.
a Corolla at 16 grand or 15 grand back then just wasn't.
Yeah.
It was
But a Seeker, Ed.
I was
A Seeker.
Seeker's better, but it's still not a Honda. A Honda really had that.
Yeah, they
that-
did.
It
They
was,
did.
It was
I
classy.
think Subaru and Honda both
Yeah.
had that premium level
Yeah, yeah,
in the Japanese
yeah.
cars.
You could drive a Subi and,
Yeah.
and a Honda and be like, yeah, doing all right.
That's right.
Actually, someone told me once that Subaru's replaced Renault 16s.
Really? I could sort of understand that for the
When they couldn't-
agriculturally
when they
wagony.
when they couldn't buy a Renault of
They-
the appropriate
Yeah.
Renault-ness.
Yeah,
Yep,
they
yep,
bought,
yep.
they bought a
they
Subi.
went to Subaru.
Yeah.
I kind of get that. Bit of character to them,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Renaults were lovely cars.
Some of them.
Some of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, some
Well,
of them.
I have an affinity for the Scenics. I used to
Wow,
love
okay.
telling everyone,
Yeah.
hey, pulled the seats out and you
You
found all of the...
they had tray things
They
under the
did.
floor.
Yeah.
Okay.
A friend of mine bought an RX4
Yep.
Scenic brand
manual,
new
because they only came manual.
which was a bit of a weak gearbox. That
And
did
if they
bung up.
bought it brand new, it was probably 2 years old. The
that's
compliance
right.
Probably. I think they
Yeah,
paid.
some of them had birthdays, didn't
Yes.
they?
I think they paid 27 grand for
Yep,
it, and that the RX4
$27,990.
had the cladding on it,
Yes.
and it was that greeny metallic.
Oh,
with the
Nordic
cladding.
green.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
They can work for Renault. Did you ever trade any old Renaults, like 12s and 16s in? Back in your Renault
19s.
days?
There was a string of 19s.
Not a good car.
Not a good car.
They were actually quite compliant to drive. I didn't
They're
mind
quite
them.
comfy, but
Yeah.
not screwed together that well, I think.
And was there a tethering of the Volvo?
There
of
was,
a
I think
period?
there was
Because
a
we
crossover.
we trade them and an early Laguna.
Oh, yeah, Gen
So
1
the
Lagunas.
talking
No, that was the
Laguna.
Renault 25.
Was
no,
it?
the Lagunas talked too.
Yeah.
But the
But
25
was the
the
first
Yeah.
one that talked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Battery going.
Door open, headlights on.
Yes.
Headlights on.
Yeah.
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 She spoke to you. in
Kooky car.
French.
So merde.
Of course.
I like those earlier Renaults, 60s, 70s, like 80s, 90s. Yeah, that's where you lose.
I
money
mean,
with Renault.
DS.
Oh, that's Citroen.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yes.
Yes.
I'm saying French
that
cars.
era.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
16's a beautiful car.
Well, thank you, Nathan. I think so, but many listeners would disagree.
Now you're speaking to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hence the posters on this wall.
Oh.
So what is there that you haven't had yet that you think
Yeah, what's
one
next?
day will
I-
be part of the collection?
Yeah, I've always sort of put a 70s 911 on,
Okay.
on the pedestal.
Long bonnet early car
Yeah.
or
Oh.
bit shorter bonnet later car?
Actually, either. I'd be happy with anything 70s.
yeah.
Probably up to 84 and probably back to 68, 69.
And the cooler the colour, the better.
Yeah, the more...
Viper green or
well,
apple green or something.
Yeah, but actually, one of the beiges or the browns or the
Yeah.
yellows or the, all the unloved.
That's
yeah.
right.
You like
That's
the
me.
ordinary. Nathan likes the ordinary. Give me the weird one that no one else
Yeah.
quite
You're
wants.
going for the orange Sportomatic, aren't you?
Well, no.
That's a bit cool
I know.
now. That's
Yeah.
We're not going that
That
far.
was-
That's a step
But
too far.
I do like a Targa.
Oh, I love a Targa.
Yeah.
I love a Targa.
Yeah,
for
I
the same
think
reason.
they're
They were
avant-garde in their styling. The
Underrated for
the
so
hoop
long.
over
the
the...
Targa.
Yeah, I've always... I didn't like them, and then I fell in love.
Yeah. No,
The
no,
glass,
I totally get
it's
that.
bigger glass in the
Yeah.
back, isn't
Yes.
it? And
Yep.
it wraps right around. That's
Yeah.
very cool.
And, plaid interior type.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a 911 will be
Okay.
coming one
Oh.
day.
It may.
It's not going to replace the Cortina.
Yeah.
No, the Cortina's
the
staying
Cortina
right where
has
it
to
is.
stay.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is a nice array for a podcast.
I think that's a brilliant
you very
collection.
much.
It's been fascinating listening to the...
Well, there's been just thinking
path
about
that-
it, kind of.
that
There's
you've
been a
led.
few cars you've had on the side. Like there was a string of touring wagons, I think, wasn't there?
Oh, there was.
BMW
Yeah.
touring.
Oh, two rings.
And then Nathan always go, I bought a touring. There was a lovely E46 touring, I remember.
I did like that.
okay.
Silver.
Titanium silver on black leather.
3x4.
LCSW.
Yeah, LCSW, black Dakota or Nevada or
With a
something. back then.
402.
Yeah, with
With
a roof, panoramic
M
roof.
Sport pack?
No, it grew some M Sport wheels.
There's a theme here. That was a nice little car. I
Yeah,
remember
it
when
was.
you bought
That was
that.
a lovely little car. Yeah.
I
And
actually
full
looked
book
at
too. That was
one
well
in
yeah,
South Wales.
yeah, well maintained.
Okay.
Yeah, treated well. Yeah.
But they haven't stuck like the other ones.
No, they haven't.
No.
I think if I could have, probably that E21. Gosh, I love that car.
You get a Fritz again. Fritz 2.
Yeah, E21s, they're not an O2.
No.
And they're
not
not
an
an
E30.
E30.
No,
Yeah,
that's
just,
right.
You know?
That's right.
Yeah, still got that lovely shark nose. To
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
They
And
hark
sleeker
back to
tail
that,
lights.
to that more stylised sort of... I think the E30 after the E21 was a bit...
They blanded
It was
down a little bit.
flat-sided
And
and-
it's
Now,
It's
I
a
love them.
magnificent
I love
lovely
them.
car.
Absolutely
Like-
love them.
But the
But-
E21 looks like it's pushing through
Yeah.
the air.
And that
Yeah.
standing
clamshell
it's
still.
got that
bonnet.
6 Series look to it. And yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh, well, let's add some of those in future.
Yeah.
Nathan Gardiner, thank you very much for
Thanks for
joining
having
us.
me.
It's been delightful.
Has. I've enjoyed it. Thanks, David.
Oh,
Thanks,
no,
Ed.
you're absolutely welcome. Thanks for coming along.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.